I will call to order the Common Council meeting on November 23rd at 7:32. First up is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Alder Allen.
Present.
Alder Radafrada. Here. Alder Gerhardt.
Here.
Alder Herbst.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Mayor Richardson.
Here.
Alder Strassman.
Here.
Alder Udell is absent with excuse. Alder Wheeler.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you. All right, first we'll do our proclamation. I don't see Mike here or anything like that, so I'll just go ahead and read this. Oh, that's right. Mike has some much-deserved time off. Probably still commiserating about the Packers loss. All right, proclaiming November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday in the city of Fitchburg. Whereas the Common Council of Fitchburg, Wisconsin celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 31.7 million small businesses in the United States, representing 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States, are responsible for 64% of net new jobs created over the past 20 years. And whereas small businesses employ over 49% of all businesses with employees in the United States. And whereas 89% of all consumers in the United States agree that small businesses contribute positively to the local community by supplying jobs and generating tax revenues. And whereas 87% of consumers in the United States agree that small businesses are critical to the overall economic health of the United States. And whereas 93% of consumers in the United States agree that it is important for people to support the small businesses that they value in their community. And whereas the city of Fitchburg, Wisconsin supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore I, Aaron Richardson, Mayor of the city of Fitchburg, Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday, and urge residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Adopted this 23rd day of November, 2021. All right, moving along, we've got 2 mayoral appointments, and we have, I think, 2 more in our next meeting as well. First up is Elizabeth Ward for Transportation and Transit, and we got her on Zoom with us today. Welcome. If you would like to just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this, that'd be great.
Great, thank you. I have a long interest in transportation issues and have been involved in advocating for expanding transit and biking and pedestrian infrastructure for a while. I think when most people think of services that government provides, they think of transportation, especially roads and sidewalks. So I know how important it is. And I also think transportation is an issue that impacts the city's climate and equity priorities, especially since we know that reliable transportation is linked to the ability for people to move out of poverty. So given how important these transportation decisions are, I'm excited about the opportunity to help on the committee.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions at all? Joe, go ahead.
Not a question, just a comment. I appreciate the holistic focus in your response about sort of how transportation affects, people, places, the environment, equity. So just, you have my support.
All right. Dave.
Elizabeth, what do you consider the biggest shortfall of our existing transportation system in the city?
I think that's a good question, and I certainly hope to get up to speed a lot more if I get placed on the committee. I think that I know that there are some budget concerns around the roads and transit going forward, and so that seems like one of the biggest concerns. And I think just ensuring that there is access to reliable transportation throughout the entire city is really important, and I'm not sure we're quite there yet.
see anything else. Would someone like to?
I'll move approval. Oh, some
Moved by Gabriella, seconded by Jay. How
flip a
about?
coin.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. Thank you very much. All right, and next we have Will Bussey. I think that's how you say their last name. Come on up if you'd like, Will. He's here in chambers with us. And you're interested in RCC, Resource Conservation Commission. So if you'd just like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested, that'd be great. You can sit right there. That's perfect.
Sure. So, yeah, my name is Will Bussey. I've been in Fitchburg for about the past 6 years now. I've been in the Madison area for 15. And I've got 3 young daughters who all attend Leopold Elementary School. But I'm interested in serving on this committee because, one, I feel that taking care of the earth, being good stewards of the environment is like one of the most fundamental duties we have. And I also think that when we do a good job of caring for the earth, it benefits everyone in the community. So to me, this seemed like a really good step for me as a way to, one, just be more informed myself, to learn more about, what I can do in the community and give back. And I also thought it would, just be a good way to contribute to the community. So, that's kind of my story.
All right, any questions at all for Will?
I'll move approval. Oh,
Oh, Julie's got one. Go ahead, Julie.
So thank you for, willing to be part of a commission. The question is, do you have any background in any of this area, environmental? Are you an engineer? What is your background? I couldn't find your application, so.
Oh, sure. So my background,
Yeah.
my job during the day is a physical therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I don't have any professional experience. It's more personal interest that I've had in learning about, particularly the issue of climate change.
Okay.
And just being concerned about that issue in terms of the challenges and threat it poses to us at like the local level and globally too, I think just as a species on the planet. So my background is just in terms of my own personal kind of reading and experience that I've had in learning about the issue and trying to be more informed.
Okay, great.
Dave.
Well, thanks for your interest. Question I have for you is, do you have initiatives that you're interested in promoting that aren't going to break the coffers, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm a local, I'm pretty environmentally conscious myself, but I look for local solutions, and I'm not into, I believe acting individual is the most important thing to do. Do you have some ideas you could expose, to me that aren't big budget breakers?
Right, yeah, understood. I don't, to be honest. I feel like I have a lot to learn. I feel like educating people is a big priority because I think this is an issue that everybody cares about, and I think if people are informed and given the opportunities to make better decisions or make decisions that again help steward resources better, I think everyone's on board with that. So to me, it makes sense to do some of those that'd be like the low-hanging fruit, things that we can do that educate people, give people opportunities to make decisions for themselves. But again, I don't have any ideas
You're getting your
specifically right
feet
now.
wet here. Yeah.
I'm very much a learner right now. So
Understood. Thanks for your willingness to serve.
yeah.
Jay, you want to do your motion now?
yeah, I'll move approval.
Second.
Sent by Gabriella. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, you're approved. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks.
Have a good night. I do not have anything else for non-agenda items, so seeing nothing, I will move on to consent agenda. Is there
So
a-
moved.
Moved by Jay. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Second by Dave. Anything that anyone wants to do separately on the consent agenda? Gabriella, yeah.
R 22621. Sorry, that's
Number
number 6. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right, then all in favor of approving everything except for number 6, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. And then, do you have a question or something you want to
Yeah,
add?
this is more of a question. I mean, should this be referred to some other commissions such as CETA or Public Works? I'm just curious if there's any value in sending it to those commissions.
For housing.
So,
Or housing, yeah, that's true. But I guess it's just the road, so, but it's related to the development.
yeah, it's the development agreement, so it wouldn't be Public Works necessarily, because it's not necessarily doing the design or anything like that. CETA hasn't in the past weighed in on that. It's, really, it's been financed in the past. I guess it doesn't mean, I guess they can't, but I don't know when those committees meet or anything like that and how the timing works out either.
Yeah.
CEDA is meeting December 9th.
And our next meeting is the 14th. Okay.
I guess I just figure with use of TID money that it would be nice to have some additional input. I don't know if CETA is the right one. I mean, the housing authority, obviously that committee meets infrequently. So, but yes, I guess I'd make a motion to refer to CETA for additional discussion.
So you're moving it with addition of CETA, essentially?
Yes, I will move with the addition of CETA.
Second.
All right, seconded by Jay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next, Administrator's report.
Good evening, everyone. A few items of note for the report. I wanted to share with the council that last week, midweek, we were able to work cooperatively with the property owner on the Apache Drive nuisance abatement issue that had been brought before council back in August. I am pleased to report through that cooperative arrangement with the property owner that we do have the property exterior in compliance with city ordinances at this point in time, and we'll be continuing to monitor the property for the next 6 months. The Veterans Day program was held at the Senior Center also, I think, nearly 2 weeks ago. I just want to thank Jill McCone and the Senior Center team for their work in putting on that event. The Public Works Department held their annual recycling event on November 13th, and Bill Balke was kind enough to share some statistics in regards to what had been collected at the event. Confidential shredded paper or paper for shredding, 5.3 tons. Medicine dropped off for our Med Drop program, 72 pounds. 795 pounds of Freon. 2,961 pounds of televisions, 5,683 pounds of electronic scrap, 1,560 pounds of computers, and 153 pounds of single-use batteries, 114 pounds of lead acid batteries, 523 pounds of computer monitors, and 5,000 pounds of steel. So clearly the event was well attended, to say the least, and people had a lot to bring.
Yeah, lots of junk.
And then the last item I have for council and the community at large is there is a link out on the city's website for the annual holiday event with Santa. There will be no in-person event this year, but again, you are able to register for a virtual event. That registration link is right on the main page of the city website when you go there. So that's all I have.
All right. Yeah, Julia, a question?
I have a question about how we are planning to outreach the resident about the change in the maps in the district. What is the plan for the city in outreaching? Because we are going to wait until January, February before the first primary to send a postcard to the people that they are registered to vote, or because my question is if we want to introduce ourselves as the new alder, because our district changed a lot. We have a totally new, different area. How do we can outreach that? How they can know that they are new alders representing them now?
Well, we have obviously information out on the city's website. We've communicated information in the Fitchburg Star, which is sent to every household in the city of Fitchburg. As the city clerk has mentioned, postcards are required to be sent out to all registered voters whose whose polling location has changed. I don't know if the council wants us to potentially identify money that would be available for additional mailings to go out, or if you have other suggestions on what additional outreach efforts you would like us to take, but I'm open to hearing that.
Yeah, no, I would like to know if we can at least send, send a letter notifying them the changes, and because not everyone can go to the website, not everyone go to the social media, and especially in the area where we are, represent the new area, we have a lot of people that speak Spanish. So, if the city is not planning to do anything, at least if we can get the list of addresses, so we can do it, because I think we need to tell this is your new elders, because so in case that they have question or comment, they know who we are, where to reach out to us, and how to reach out to us. So that's it.
Tracy, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, that's a great question, Julia. And just to kind of add a little bit extra to that, the Wisconsin Election Commission is going to be updating all of the wards and alders and the district mapping within the My Vote website beginning next week. Now that all the maps have been approved, they're just waiting to get all those finalized details in, and then they'll update the maps. That in turn will make all the addresses, the district codes for the addresses that have changed to the new district codes. So if you are looking for a list of addresses that are now in your district, give us about a week or two so that information can all be inputted into the My Vote and the WisVote system. And, we can get you those lists.
Okay, thank you. Good to know.
And as we had talked, I do have a list of the alders that requested maps, so we'll get that working as well. I can ask the city clerk's office or finance if they have an estimate on what it would cost for additional mailers, and see if funds are available for that. But I'm not sure what it costs typically to send out a mass mailing to all city households.
I think we should have budgeted that last year when we knew that we have already restricting. We were having change in the map. I think it was planned. It should have been part of the plan to outreach the community. There should be money, or I don't know. I don't remember.
Chad, one other question I just thought of is, I don't know if it's too late or not, but I know that the tax bills are going out soon, and I don't know if there's a way to put a message on that as well. That might be something. I think there's a letter that usually goes in there. I don't know if there's any room on that, but that might be another option as well.
That sounds like a great option. I'll check with the finance department on that.
Jay?
The city has sent out postcards though, right?
Yeah.
And we're planning on doing that.
Yeah, we have to.
In the plan.
Yep.
So, and I still have my postcard sitting on my table at home. But I wonder how, since the state hasn't settled on Assembly and Senate boundaries yet, some things are still gonna be a little up in the air for however long it takes to work through the courts. So, I don't know. I mean, that obviously doesn't affect the April elections, but it will be affecting things shortly after that, because if you're going to run for state assembly or senate, you have to have that stuff. I think you have to have the nomination papers in by the end of June, don't you?
Yes.
Probably.
So something's going to have to happen with that pretty soon.
Yeah. Joe, go ahead.
Chad, is there a comprehensive list of all the landlords in the city?
I don't know. I mean, we would obviously have a list of all the property owners, and the parcels should identify what level of property it is, i.e. whether it's multifamily or single family.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking as maybe an idea of if there's outreach to property managers to say, can you please inform your residents that, these are the new district boundaries. Based on your boundaries, this would be your polling place. I think that might be another way to get the word out, because a lot of the property managers have email listservs that they send out to all their residents. And some of them might even go the extra step of, putting something in their mailboxes. I just know when we were looking for the survey for the police chief, I went around to different apartment complexes, and folks were always willing to, let their residents know about something. So this might be some, a pitch to say, hey, ex manager of Highline or New Fountains or whatever, can you please inform your residents that these are the changes? That's a suggestion that I have.
Thank you.
Julia, another question?
Yeah, I have another question. So have you talked to the mayor or discussed about the new mandate, the new extension of mandate for mask for Dane County? That people that are fully vaccinated, they cannot wear mask? Have you talked about that? What is the city policy is gonna be?
The city policy will be to comply with the mask mandate. The city attorney is just taking a look at it. I
Okay.
think when you're talking about public spaces in particular, it's going to be rather challenging to deviate from wearing a mask unless all people are willing to voluntarily share their vaccination status. And I'm not sure we're going to get in the business of asking what people's vaccination status is.
And at the next meeting, we'll have to extend the being able to be remote for meetings again. If we want to, I guess we don't have to, but we'll bring that forward anyway, again. All right, seeing nothing else, can we move along? All right, since Randy's not here, can someone make motions on the planning commission stuff for me?
I can do it if you want.
All right, that'd be great.
I move approval of ordinance 2021-021, RZ 2411-21, amendment granting general implementation plan zoning for Lot 22 Maple Lawn Heights.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Jay. Planning commission did approve. Do you want us to tell us what this is, Gabrielle? No, all right.
She'd love to.
This is the GIP for a proposed project on Ocala. It is 170 apartments and 10,000 square feet of commercial of some kind. This is the same individuals who I don't believe are on or here. Same individuals who did Terrace Point, and Mike and Ned, who have been here many times, who you know. And this is kind of one of the many steps that they have to go through during that. And it was approved in Planning Commission. It is kind of it's an infill, though there's nothing that they're taking down necessarily. There is some dirt that they'll have to take out that isn't great fill, but other than that, it is an infill project, which is nice. Any questions at all? Dave and then Julie, I mean.
I'm sorry, where is the project?
Ocala is the new road that is on Fish Hatchery Road, just off Fish Hatchery Road. We put a retention basin on Fish Hatchery Road. This is on the east side of the retention basin.
Oh, it is. Thank you.
Yep. Julia?
Yeah, so my question is, that we have talked in the past, especially you, I would like to know your position, Mayor, about, bringing more apartment complex to the North Fish Hatchery Road when, I remember that you mentioned that you would like to see more opportunity for home ownership and less apartment. So I want to know what is your position with this development because we are bringing more apartment complex in an area that are already very dense. So I want to know what is your position.
Yeah, well, I approved it in Planning Commission. It's not ideal. Obviously, I think that area as well, we need to have more ownership opportunities. It is on the east side of Fish Hatchery Road, which has less density than the west side of Fish Hatchery Road. The project also, if approved, should, based on our projections, make sure that the TID is successful and we, can pay off the Chattree Road. So it'll guarantee that piece of it as well. So is it ideal? No. The next project that they want to do is in that same area that will have ownership opportunity though. And so it's good to see that they have that kind of as their next planned development, until it comes forward, you never really know. But they are planning right next to this to do a ownership option as well. Gabriel?
Is this what that previous resolution that's being referred out, that Wachella Drive extension, this is related to that project?
It is related to that, yep.
And is this project, obviously we're using TID money for the road extension, is this project requesting TID money or is that anticipated for the future?
So this project is essentially asking for that TID money, and we'll talk about this more, next meeting. They are asking for TID to pay for extending Ochala all the way to Index, and then also because of that extension, we will need more right away, and they're asking for the city as part of that to essentially pay them for that land. I'm getting a little bit off of what the matter at hand, but so they are asking for TID, essentially saying, if the city wants the road to go through, then we'd like the city to pay for it.
So that's a separate thing that will be coming December or January?
That'll be the next meeting, yeah.
Okay, was that referred out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it, okay.
That's what we
About
added to too.
The conversation about the tax incremental lid, we can have it in December.
Yeah, that's when we'll have
Okay.
the TID
Cool.
discussion. Yeah, there is a TID request coming
Yeah,
up
so,
for next meeting.
okay.
Yep. Anything else? All right, seeing nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next one, please.
I move approval of 2021-022, RZ 2412-21, amendment approving rezone request RZ 2412-21 by Amanda Fisher, agent for Banner Westview Apartments LLC and Glen Place Fund 4 LLC to amend the PDD SIP, Plan Development District Specific Implementation Plan, district for property associated with 5351 Nobel Drive to allow for a dog play area, Lot 108, Fahey Fields.
Second.
Signed by Jay, and Plan Commission approved this one. And this is the owner of this apartment complex wants to have an area designated on their land as a dog play area for their residents. We did this with the View, I think it was, as well. We did this with another apartment complex. And essentially, they just need to do the rezoning to essentially set that piece aside for the dog play area. It's for their residents. I don't remember if other people will be able to get in there or not, but it is for, something that they want to provide as an amenity to the people who live there, because they do have a number of people. It looks like, according to the application, 90 dogs that are on the property right now. Dave?
City has no responsibility for this, I take it. We don't have to supply bags and clean it. It's strictly a private.
Correct, yeah, they're taking care, it's still theirs. It's not like they're gifting this to the city or giving it to the city. This is them. They're doing the upkeep and bags and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, seeing nothing else. Oh, okay.
Curiosity, how big is, how many dogs is gonna accommodate this place?
Well, I don't think there's like a capacity limit on it. It's
You don't know how big it, okay.
Yeah, that too. All right, seeing nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next one.
I move approval of R 21921, authorizing the city's request to amend the urban service area for development of an Edgewood College athletic facility to be located in Section 17, south of Lacy Road and west of the Badger State Trail.
Second.
Signed by Jay, and we've got applicants here. If you'd like to come up and tell us what you're doing here, and I can hand out the packets of information for you.
Okay. Thank you, council members, for your time and for reviewing this. As you can see, we've been moved forward to you. I have with me here John Kinnear with the Rattler Corporation to answer technical questions that you may have regarding the plans. And I will handle anything else that is not technical.
So Mayor, do you want me to just review quickly the
Yeah.
urban service area application and
Yeah,
the
I think that'd be
contents?
great.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the introduction. I am John Kinnear, President with Rattler Corporation. We are a landscape architecture and civil engineering firm located in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. We've been retained by Edgewood College as their consultant to assist with the development of the athletic and wellness campus, which is about approximately 41 acres on the southwest corner, just west of the Badger State Trail of Lacy Road and Seminole Highway, just down the road. We're asking for this property to be included in the urban service area and have a draft urban service area application prepared that we are asking the city of Fitchburg to submit to CARPC on December 13th. That will then go before a public hearing, mid-January. There will be a decision on that in mid-February. It'll then be referred to the DNR for compliance for the water quality plan for Dane County in mid-March. So this is the first key step in getting the ball rolling on the proposed development. Our urban service area application draft is in conformance with CARPC requirements. The outline follows what they do ask for, and we do have a brief introduction of the project. Again, it's approximately 42 acres of land that is going to house all of the field and track developments for Edgewood College. There's also a proposed fitness and wellness training facility as well, indoor, and meets the needs of the growing campus to consolidate the uses in one site. They're located all around the Madison area and would like to call Fitchburg home. And this is a great step in that process. So the report here illustrates the plan consistency and need. The wellness and athletic campus is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Creates a transition buffer on the edge of the urban development to the north. Properties that are business, industrial, and the neighborhoods to the northeast, transitioning into government institutional property, and then into the solar farms that are now on the west, south, and east of this property, into the agricultural properties south and west of that. So it is a nice buffer transition property. It's consistent with the surrounding land uses as well. Primarily open space is being proposed here. It's a very light footprint. We've been explaining that at the neighborhood meetings. We've had 2 neighborhood meetings as well. It's in terms of development, it's a rather light footprint. It's not a lot of impervious. There's a lot of open, permeable surfaces here. With baseball, a synthetic surface baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse field, collegiate track, throwing events, etc. In terms of traffic, noise, and lighting, we feel this will not create a nuisance to the surrounding land uses. The traffic falls within the Lacy Road intersection design report that was prepared for the Lacy Road improvements. We've been working closely with staff to review that. We've also brought on AECom to verify the planned development with the Lacy Road report that was completed by the city of Fitchburg. We do meet and exceed the property that was planned to be an athletic facility. We do comply with that and have review with this city traffic engineer as well. The turn lanes that are being proposed are adequate in terms of the traffic report. We feel that we studied that there's going to be actually just 2 cars at any one time as a maximum queuing on Lacy Road, so we're not expecting extensive backups. So the construction and planning of Lacy Road is quite adequate. Lighting and sound, Al just handed out some lighting information. We're going to be using the latest LED technology, full cutoff lighting, compliant lighting that you see at Burr Park up in the city of Madison. It's a great example of what that lighting will look like. It's the latest technology to reduce any light spill and keep it contained to the fields themselves, not only the site, but the fields themselves. Sound technology, we're going to use all state-of-the-art internal focus sound and hopefully just be announcing the games that are happening on the fields themselves and keep that sound contained to the fields, just like the lighting. Another important piece of this property is that it fills the gap where the wetlands are. In the southeast corner of this property, there's an approximate 12.5 acre delineated wetland that we are working with. We're actually incorporating that wetland and its buffers into the development as an environmental campus as well. Edgewood College has a very extensive environmental program that will utilize this campus as well for education. That wetland area is going to be restored. Right now it's soybean field, it's cut over, there's no real quality to it. We're looking to improve that quality and have been talking with CARPC about how we can impact the wetlands to make them better. But it's our intention to keep the size of the wetlands consistent with what's been delineated already. Again, this property fills the gap between the wetlands there, the wetlands to the east, and again, the solar farms and other agricultural uses that surround it. We also feel that it's a critical link in the stormwater management conveyance. We know stormwater is very important, especially on this side of the city of Fitchburg. We found that the improvement is going to help control stormwater that is tributary to the site. There's a large area of tributary runoff that does come onto the site to the low kettle, that is the wetlands. Through this development, we're going to be able to control, capture, and distribute the stormwater after we treat the stormwater and create a much better water quality situation and can certainly meet all the ordinances. In the early planning, we've already accommodated the new Dane County requirements for the 200-year storm, back-to-back 100-year storms, and all the other storm events. We wanted to look at that early on just to make sure, being a low kettle, that we've looked at those worst-case scenarios. So now with the new ordinances, we've already prepared for that. So we feel that from a stormwater management standpoint, this creates a relief valve in a region where stormwater is certainly an important concern. In addition to that, the land use we talked about, right now it's exclusive agriculture. The proposed land use is GI, government institutional. That's consistent with the comprehensive plan that was just approved and will conform to the proposed land use. In terms of natural resources, we've done a geotechnical report and a wetland delineation, as I've mentioned. We understand the soils and the wetland conditions that are there. We intend to, again, improve that wetland area and work with the DNR and CARPC through our submittal process to have that be a thriving environmental oasis in a growing area of the city of Fitchburg as well. Real quickly on utilities, we've been working with city staff, Bill, to look at not only size but location of sanitary and water stubs. Those have been incorporated into the Lacy Road plan so that we're not looking to destroy any brand new investments of roadway. We've been able to coordinate that with Bill and his group very cleanly and have adequate gravity flow. We did an early study to confirm that we can have sanitary gravity flow north out to Lacy Road and have that again confirmed here with the two 10-inch stubs. So again, all of the utilities and stormwater management, we can feel that we can make this property help or in a region where stormwater is a concern, and also easily connect to public utilities of sanitary and water. In addition to that, we have the number of maps. We have the systems maps for sewer and water attached. We have some letters of recommendation. We do have the plan attached to the report. I hope you've had a chance to look at that in your packet. And then we do have the rather lengthy appendices, sorry about that, of the wetland delineation report and geotechnical report for your reference. All in total is the draft application. We're asking to finalize that and asking that that be submitted on December 13th. Any questions related to the draft report?
Yeah, I think just in terms of process, we will continue to see this a number of times. This is essentially okaying the CARP C as submittal, and then if they approve, then it's coming back, and you kind of get an idea of what they're looking at, and it's kind of formalizing at that point in time, but you get a feel for what they're trying to do here. Questions at all? Dave, and then Julia.
Just a couple here. How many parking spaces are there, or do you have planned, Al? Or-
There's 356.
356?
And second, along the railway, are there culverts underneath that? I don't, do you have to take that into account because that triangle
Yeah.
fills up with water? Okay.
Yep.
And then you're familiar with the old boxing adage, you know, everyone has a plan until they get hit. I've seen this area over many years, and, you know, people would lease space to grow, and then the next week I'd come by and it's all underwater. So you recognize what you're getting into here is
Yep.
So we had, Dave, the numbers were run by the engineers, and then we actually did a walkthrough with the farmers. No one knows that property better than the people that are farming it. And we actually performed that walkthrough about a week ago, where they pointed out exactly where the water flows coming out of the highlands around, and how all that water comes down onto the property. And Rettler ran the numbers to confirm. Why don't you talk about how it slows down? Because that's really the crux of your question is, why does it all puddle up right there? That's been looked at, so.
Yeah, so again, one of the key components of this site development is leaving that low area alone, enhancing it through a wetland planting and restoration to help absorb water, help retain water as it enters that area, the low kettle that's there. We are aware there's one culvert, it's an 18-inch culvert about midway through the property that goes from west to east under Badger State Trail, the old railway, and then proceeds south through the triangle. We're assuming that area is going to continue to fill in rain events. We did look at the tributary area, that's all the run-on area. There's that ridge southwest that wraps all the way around to the far west of the property. We've accounted for all that storm water and calculated time of concentration. We've looked at how quickly that water is going to get to the site. Once it gets to the site, we've modeled how to capture that water, control it, meter the outlet after we catch it in that southwest corner. That's going to be a critical component to controlling the stormwater as it moves through the site, treating it for suspended solid removals, and getting it to meter out into the low area. So we are aware that is a wet area. It's going to inundate. It will continue to inundate. And by keeping a low area low, recognizing it's a wetland and keeping it a wetland is the best thing we can do with this development. The high ground is developable. We're using it to its full potential for what Edgewood is proposing. It fits well. It's enough space to create the athletics campus while recognizing that we need to keep that wetland area wetlands for stormwater management for many, many other reasons as well.
Everything that you see on that map, with the exception of the building and the parking lot, is a water management control device of some way, shape, or form.
One more and then I'll be quiet here. Sanitary sewer leaving the property,
Yep.
you know, could very well be the water level. Is it gonna be just concrete pipe? My concern is sanitary sewer leaking into the
Right.
water table there. Have you talked to Bill about that? Are we planning something different? I just wanna make sure that's assessed.
So one of the nice things here is that the water table isn't that high. It is wet, it inundates, but the water table is identified in the soil boring report, approximately 6 feet down on the low end of the site. We're not proposing any basements or lower levels here, so we're gonna be relatively shallow and out of the groundwater as we move north out to Lacy Road on the south end of Lacy Road. We did discuss that in general. We'll be using whatever material, we'll coordinate that with Bill, whatever material city requires per city spec for sanitary laterals, we'll be using that. But we don't anticipate getting into the groundwater at all based on its elevation in relation to the proposed sanitary.
Thank you, sorry for taking so much of your time.
It's all right, thank you.
Julie, do you have any additional questions?
So thank you. I watched the Plan Commission meeting, and I think you explained very well why you decided to go with synthetic turf and how using, converting or restoring the wetland to a wetland and, and introducing native, plants, because how it's gonna, you're gonna restore that wetland because now it's not wetland, it's a low area that get inundated. So I think, after hearing in Plan Commission, there were more questions, and you explained more things that you are explaining here. But I think I have a better good idea of how the wetland restoration will work, where you're trying to create a native habitat there that it will improve the infiltration issues there, and how using synthetic turf is also helping to the stormwater issue. So, and I know there are some concern about some neighbors about the stormwater and how the runoff work coming from the north part of the neighborhood, to the northeast corner, the low area. So my question is, have you done any, because I think in Plan Commission you mentioned that you didn't know if the runoff from the north area or neighborhood is affecting us or is going to the northeast corner. So have you done any more research? I think you mentioned in Plan Commission that you need to check that.
Yeah, great follow-up, and yes, we did. I took that question back to our engineers.
Okay.
Chase Rettler reviewed that with me. We reviewed the tributary areas, all the run-on areas. It's all primarily west and southwest running onto the property. Those are two separate kettles. We've got the south of Lacy Road kettle. On both sides of Seminole Highway, there's a low area on the property across Seminole Highway as well as this. They're hydraulically connected through that culvert that's under the Badger State Trail. But we did determine that there is no connectivity between the north neighborhood stormwater and the water that is currently collected on that property now. So the two areas of concern, they're both areas of concern, they're not connected. So we did look into that. We did review early on the the stormwater, the Stoner Prairie stormwater report that was just completed. We coordinated with the consultant and city engineers as well, talked with Claudia about that to determine whether this was connected or not, and in all that research, we did determine it's really just the tributary waters to the west and southwest that we'll be handling, and having come downstream to our site, and then contributing downstream is going to be all east and south and southeast down Seminole Highway. That's where this site's water is going to go. Yeah,
So unfortunately, we can't help the east side of Seminole.
yeah.
No, but I think this is a great project for the city, and I am very happy that we are moving forward, and, so, and good luck in Carp City.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim?
Yes, I was at the first meeting when Mr. O'Brien brought up the water issues and the runoff, and I really do appreciate you meeting with him and actually listening to his input and coming up with solutions, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, thank you, Jim.
Jay, go ahead.
Would this soccer stadium be capable of having football games?
It could. There's no markings for football. Our intentions aren't for football, but I guess if somebody wanted to rent it, we could. I mean, if you're asking, is it big enough to hold football? Yes, soccer is bigger than football, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of, it's a fairly small grandstand for
Yeah.
Yep.
whatever might be going on there. So I imagine that a lot of people coming to the games are just going to be standing.
Possibly. I mean, we're, dealing, again, part of the idea is not to put a lot of impervious parking lots around, so you're kind of limited to your seating based on how many cars you can get in. So,
What is the material that the tennis courts are going to be made out of?
So we're proposing right now that they're asphalt with an acrylic surfacer. So there'll be an asphalt tennis court base on a dense graded base. And then it will have an acrylic surface around that.
and I had mentioned the parking lots before as areas that aren't, that don't act as water management, but the tennis courts actually would be in the same, because we did put the tennis courts there and get rid of some parking.
So that's not going to be a pervious surface at all?
Right, the tennis courts won't be. They were actually
Correct.
part of the parking plan originally, and we got rid of 100 stalls roughly to put tennis in there.
So you based on what you've studied so far, you aren't concerned about hydrostatic pressure breaking that up in a fairly short amount of time, given how low that area is?
Yeah, no, there's going to be a whole series of under drainage underneath that as well to help with subsurface water management, to keep the base dry. With the soils, we would be very concerned. The track as well is going to have a network of under drain underneath the pavement to help control that subsurface water, get it into the low area, into the kettle, and not be underneath the track, especially in the spring and fall with freeze thaw.
How deep is that stormwater pond?
The stormwater pond, we don't have it final designed yet. We're looking to have a wet pond in the stormwater management pond that's on the northeast side. That's there in proximity to the parking to handle the dirty water, so that's all the water that falls on the parking and drives. We want to get that into the wet pond for total suspended solid removal and treatment.
So then where does it go from there?
So it will go south and discharge into the low kettle
Into the
area,
wetland.
into the wetland, after treatment. So we'll get that suspended solid removal, and then it'll be metered out.
So
south.
you're going to have some kind of storm drain system in there to move
Yes.
the material into that pond?
Yes, yep.
All right.
All right. Gabriella?
I just wanted to, I'm impressed with your presentation. Thank you for getting so detailed. I wasn't able to attend your public meeting, so
Thank you.
this was very helpful. You answered a lot of the questions that I wanted to ask in anticipation of that, so that was great. I just wanted to say that I think it's really exciting, the idea of restoring a native wetland for both educational opportunities, but then also as a stormwater management technique and, restoring some of those habitats for wildlife and pollinators. So I'm really excited to see that part of the project, and I hope that it'll serve as a model for potentially other organizations that maybe want to do something similar and create a beautiful educational opportunity in addition to reaping all the benefits that has. And then I also just want to say thank you for making your lights dark sky compliant. I know that's not a requirement by the city at this point, but I appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Seeing nothing else, we can go to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, you're approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, one more for me.
I move approval of R 22821, FP 241321, approving final plat request FP 241321 by Stephen DeJong, agent for Patrick and Thomas O'Brien, for approval of the O'Brien Flats final plat to subdivide land along Lacy Road and South Seminole Highway, Section 17.
Second.
Sent by Jay and Planning Commission approved. This is related to the Edgewood project in that they need to essentially divide up the O'Brien land and have this carved out so they can sell this to Edgewood. So that's really kind of the reason for this, and it will otherwise, besides the piece going to Edgewood, will stay in the family and is part of Solar Farm at this point. They did do a separate, I don't remember what it's called, but the farm house is on its own lot. So, Jay?
Just as a note on things like this, when they come before us like this, we had used to always try to make sure that the subdivisions and the plat requests would come in before the other approvals, because if we approve what we just approved and then don't approve this, they got a real problem.
Yeah, it should have been flipped
So-
on the agenda.
So I would just, in the future, when we have stuff like this coming through, the resolution number should have the plat issues and the subdivision issues first.
Yeah,
And then we can get to the other specific uses.
yeah, good point. Julia?
Can you explain the amendment that you did in Plan Commission?
Yeah, so that is, I believe it's part of the rural development thing where essentially they still have a right to farm on the property itself. I mean, even though there's a solar farm on it, you're not taking away that option for them at this point in time. All right. Anything else? Then go to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is also approved. All right, that is all for Planning Commission. Anything on Public Works, Dave?
The only thing I have, speaking to Bill, we're prepared for winter season. Our trucks are ready, our salt is ready, and hopefully we don't have to use them, but we are good to go.
All right. Park Commission?
Yes, we met on November 4th. We have a long agenda. So we approved the comprehensive development plan that it came here about the Fahey Field. And also, as you know, we are continuing with the Parks and Open Space and Recreation Plan update. And we work in session 2, and we spent kind of like an hour discussing. We went through this chapter of the plan, and we had very good discussion, and there was a lot of discussion about beer gardens and no beer gardens in our parks. So there was a lot of, in McKeithorn Park a couple of years ago, there was an idea to install a beer garden, but then the neighbors were very concerned, and we didn't go through with that. But then the consensus of the park committee is that the park commission is, because it didn't work in McKeithorn Park, it doesn't mean that we need to remove this concept of beer garden in the rest of the park, because maybe we can find a park where we can fit a beer garden. So, and that one was a consensus, because we received a lot of email from neighbors saying we need to remove the language, completely the language from the parks plan. And the consensus from several of the park commission was no, we should, because we are planning for the future of how our parks will look like, and maybe McKeithorn Park is not the ideal park for a beer garden, but it doesn't mean that a new park in the future show up and where we can, So there was a lot of discussion about that. And then we talk about the park shelter 2022 fee schedule proposal that is coming in the consent agenda for discussion in the December meeting. So this is going to be a new, there was a presentation and there was a lot of discussion about this too, about the new schedule for park fee. I think we are changing drastically the way we're going to charge, but it's going to be more, we want to have like a more fair or equitable fee for all our rental of our shelter and parks. The other thing that we discussed there, it was that it's going to be a new, but we are going to add the pickleball court rental fee too, so that one is coming, so for discussion. So what else? So we talk about the fish hatchery hub, phase 1, that there is a work group of stakeholders, they are meeting to discuss the final design. And then we talk about the inclusive playground, the earthwork. It was done. So you go to McKeefer Park, you will see beside the splash pad, the earthwork for the inclusive playground is done. So so now we need to wait until April to install the surface and the rest. But we are already started. We were able to save one of the trees that people were concerned. We remove it and we place it in another place in McKeefer Park, so it was great. So what else? And also the city is working in updating the sound permit for 2022. We are working on that, and the holiday party, it will be virtual this year. So that's it about parks. So, but if you have any ideas about parks or what are the amenities we can add to the park system, please send us email to the Park Commission, because we are discussing all of this, and it will be, the idea is, what is your vision for the parks in Fitchburg in the next 10, 20 years? You know what I mean? So you have ideas,
You have a question, Gabriella?
Yeah. Did you guys discuss the skateboard park? I know a teen came forward with that idea at the public meeting. Did you guys discuss that at all?
No, but I think we are going to discuss it next time, because there are other ideas in other parks that we receive ideas.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Library Board.
On behalf of the Library Board, I would move approval of Resolution R216-21, authorizing the conversion of 2 part-time library custodian positions into 1 full-time library custodian position.
Second.
Sent by Gabriella. Did Library Board approve?
It did.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
And Wendy is here and would love to talk more about it.
And Wendy, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're doing here?
Sure. So this is a position that has been approved for the 2022 budget. We are simply asking to start it sooner than that. We've had a half-time custodian vacancy since May, and we've made that work so far. We're a little worried with snow removal coming up, that we just don't have enough hours to take care of that and keep the building clean. So this would result in starting the person probably midway through December. It would also allow health insurance to start in January instead of February. And we have funds available from the vacancy of the part-time position, and we have benefit funds available because we've had a full-time librarian vacancy for the whole year.
Any questions at all for Wendy? Seeing none.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh,
because
sorry, Joe does. Go ahead, Joe.
Question for Wendy. Why was it initially 2 part-time positions? I mean, a full-time position probably makes more sense anyways.
Yeah, when we opened the library 10 years ago, our thought was having a person that was here in the morning for 2 hours before we opened, and then a person in the evening that was here 2 hours after we closed. But that evening position, we filled 9 times in 10 years. So we no longer think that's a good idea.
JJ.
I agree. Anytime you have multiple part-time positions, it always leads to turnover. So I support that.
Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna, for the vote, I was gonna request a roll call because of the financial implications.
Okay. Do we need 2/3 on this? Do you know, Chad?
It said no.
Okay. Just a majority. All right, but we can do a roll call. I don't see any other questions, so Tracy, if you could do a roll call for me, that'd be great.
You bet. Alder Allen,
Aye.
Alder Rada,
Aye.
Alder Gerhart,
Aye.
Alder Hertz,
Aye.
Alder Maldonado,
Aye.
Alder Strassman,
Aye.
Udell is absent, Alder Wheeler,
Aye.
I should wake.
7, motion carried.
Fantastic. Anything else on
Thank
Library
you.
Board? Thank you, Wendy.
There's nothing else to report.
All right, then moving on to Commission on Aging Model.
I was out of town the last meeting, so I have nothing to report.
All right, what about RCC?
We last met on November 8th. We did talk about the recycling event, and thanks, Chad, for bringing all those wild numbers about how successful it was. I did just want to send thank yous to staff members, Dakota, Claudia, and Phil for doing a lot of the legwork on organizing it. All the RCC members showed up to volunteer, so it's a very engaged group that I adore working with them. So thank you to them. And I don't think there were any additional volunteers, but please accept my apology if there was someone else that showed up as well. Thank you for volunteering. And then Pelletaria and Resource Solutions were the vendors. They did a wonderful job and were more hands-on than they even have to be. So they were great partners on that. And then also the police department for coordinating the med drop that day and also every day. And then we talked a little bit about sustainability grants coming up next year. We talked about our calendar for next year. We are planning 1 to 2 public events. Those are still kind of up in the air, but we're looking at what that could look like, hoping to do some in-person ones. And we will be having a committee of the whole, I believe, in January, where the committee is going to come and present kind of the success of and what RCC has been working on. Because a lot of what we do is not necessarily resolutions that come to council, but it's discussion items and other sort of things in the background. So I think you look forward to it because it's really kind of impressive, some of the work that's been done by the commission members. So that's all.
All right, what about TTC?
We did not meet in November.
All right, CETA, I'm not sure who's gonna give an update.
No, we are meeting December 9th.
All right, Ag and Rural Affairs, Randy is not here. EMS.
I just wanted to report just a couple of things. We got, Petrona got 2 new ventilators and an extra Lucas device. And then I don't think we're gonna have a meeting in December, but I'll let you know the 14th, which is our next meeting. I'll let you know if we have another meeting or if it's in January, but that's it.
Sounds good. Sure.
Shannon, I heard that you discussed the increase in the rate for 2022.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
it actually went up. Yeah, I forgot about that. It went up about it's gonna go up about 18% next year. And we did get a presentation by, a gentleman that's gonna be kind of looking into when we merge with Town of Madison, those certain sections, he's gonna actually see if the rates may change even more, but I don't know anything on that yet.
All right, thank you. Bicycle Committee, Joe.
Next meeting is December 1st, 7:30 a.m. No updates since the last meeting.
All right, Tree Advisory.
No report.
Landmarks Preservation.
No report.
All right, Housing Advisory.
Next meeting is December 13th, 8 a.m. or 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
All right, Healthy Neighborhoods. All right, Finance Committee.
So we did a detailed review of all checks issued from November 1st to the 15th and asked and answered questions. Then Misty gave a report. She got basically an estimate of the tax increase for each of the areas of Fitchburg and the different school districts. These are just tentative numbers. She still has to get them approved with the Dane County, but just for everyone to know for reference, this is a increase based on assessed value, the tax rate based on assessed value. That's assuming that the assessed value stays the same, which for everyone in Fitchburg should because it was a maintenance assessment year. Verona is going to up 3.5%, Verona School District. Oregon School District, part of Fitchburg, is going up 4.5%. Madison School District area of Fitchburg going up 4.7%. Another note about the lottery credit for taxes is going to go up by $100, an extra $100 back on your tax bill this year. But she said that everyone that gets their tax bill should really take a look because not everyone has that lottery credit. If you're missing it, you can apply to get it. And especially for new homes that are built, sometimes you have to file paperwork in order to get that credit. So it's worthwhile to take a look at your bill and make sure that you're getting it. And something that all the alders maybe reach out to our constituents to let them know that they should pay attention this year, especially because there's that extra money coming in. And then the tax bill processing is underway. They're looking at getting it out in early December. Also, some relatively good news about the Madison Metropolitan Sewer District. You know, we had that committee, the whole presentation, they talked about what could be a significant increase over every year for the next 6 years. Fortunately, the average, and it's variable across the city, but the average increase for next year for a Fitchburg resident is going to be 1.7%. And for the average commercial, 1.4%. Again, keep in mind that there's a lot of variability, but that's the average. And we were fortunate, my understanding is that based on the amount of new construction that actually helped ease the burden of the cost, some municipalities went up far, far more than under 2%. So feeling good about that. But again, there could be increases for the next 6 years. So yeah, and then we can move right into the resolutions.
Great.
I move approval of Resolution R-20321, authorizing a budget amendment for replacement, rifle purchases, sale of rifles, and purchase of speedboards.
Second.
Seconded by Jay. And you want to speak to this?
Yeah, so the police department went through and used some cost savings from the temporary absence of the police chief, and also sale of old rifles to put in replacements for new rifles. The old rifles are quite old. I bet most of them are over 18 years old. They're mostly used for training. And so buying those new rifles with those cost savings, and then also purchasing of a couple of new speed boards that will be used, that are well needed across the city. And I don't know if Chief Morales has anything to add, but that's what we talked about in finance.
You're welcome to if you'd like to. And I'm assuming finance approved this. I should have asked that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening, everyone. I have nothing else to add other than it's just to answer any other questions that were there. But basically, the wear and tear on the firearms, both handguns and rifles, through wear and tear, they eventually need to be replaced, and this will be the start of the replacement program. And they're at the end of the cycle.
Great. Julia?
So we are replacing all of them or a batch of,
All the rifles will be replaced, yes.
Joey, did you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure it's assumed, but it's the same number as there currently are, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Just
Here, Will.
one more note. I mean, I think it does require a 2/3 vote because we're moving between accounts, but just to clarify, they found cost savings within the current budget. It's just because it has to move accounts, we have to have a 2/3 vote.
All right. Seeing nothing else, we can go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay? All right, I hear no nays, so that passes. And then one more.
I move approval of Resolution R-21121, authorizing a budget amendment for replacement handgun purchase and trade-in of old handguns.
Second that motion.
Seconded by Dave. And you want to speak to
So,
that?
yeah, this is all part of the same memo. It had to be separate because there's pre-approval forms. You can't have more than one pre-approval form in one resolution, so it had to be separate. This is the same deal. Handguns, we're going to sell some of the old ones, buy new ones, and using some of that cost savings from the police chief vacancy to fill in the gap. Again, a 2/3 vote is required, and I believe we're talking about 62
That's
handgun
correct.
replacements, and that's actually a reduction. We did have a 69.
That's correct.
Anything you want to add, Chief?
No, she said it well, thank you.
All right. Julia, did you have a?
So I have a question. Who is buying your used guns?
It's listed in the paperwork. Let me see if
No,
I
but
can.
this is another,
Not another law enforcement agency, but it is a vendor. So it's, the vendor then owns those firearms and they sell them.
Oh, they sell it to the market.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
we don't sell it to the public.
No, I know, but my curiosity was who is buying this used, very old rifle of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I didn't know that they have another purpose.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
All right. Seeing Jay.
Yeah, the only question I had on this is, since both of these handguns are 9mm, what's the difference? Why don't we just get all the same one?
For the handguns?
Yeah.
There is a larger frame and a smaller frame for the physical. There's most females will like a smaller one if they're the larger firearms tend to address the rib cage area, and it's not that conducive. The regular firearm, like a tool, is going to be a larger frame one. So to assist some of them that are wearing certain vests that are smaller in nature, will use or prefer a smaller firearm, so it's not that uncomfortable and digging in your side while you're seated in the squad car.
But these both use the same round, so we don't have to stock two different sizes of bullets, is that correct?
That's correct, they're all the same ammunition.
All right. Seeing nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
All
Enjoy your
right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Personnel Committee, Julia?
Yes, Joe is gonna present tonight. We are sharing.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm nervous. No, I'm just kidding. So we went through a few major items. The first one was we met the city's diversity, equity, and inclusion resource group. It was a really good discussion. They talked about all the work that they had been doing. I won't go through the entire list of things, but it involved both training, different professional development opportunities, and series of regular meetings among staff focused on climate, also recruiting, diversifying the workforce within the city government. The alders on the committee definitely had a lot of questions and comments and suggestions, but overall we were appreciated the work that they did, and we gave them some feedback. So if anybody would like to see that video, it can be found on our Fact TV site, and there's also minutes available. We went through the employee handbook. Some of the updates included replacing gender-specific pronouns with gender-neutral pronouns, adding in the ability to contact department head, HR, or city administrator with an open door policy and a respectful workplace policy. So basically, if you don't feel comfortable going to your supervisor necessarily, there's a protocol and procedure. Adding gender identity as a protected class, which is definitely important. Updating the personal appearance policy to reflect dress for your day policy, which again, I think is very important, especially in kind of a newer workforce culture. And also updating the severe weather plan to replace the police chief with the department head who has the emergency management liaison. We approved the whistleblower policy, which Sarah shared with us. We also gave an update on the 360-degree feedback update. We met about hearing the conservation program update, and then we discussed a 5-year city staffing plan and got updates on any new hires and vacancies. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Moving on to public safety.
Listen, hear from an applicant tonight whose application for operator's license had been denied by the police department, and we gave him opportunity to talk. We could not get connected properly, so we deferred that until our December meeting. That was really, other than that, there really wasn't anything on our agenda. So we'll give this gentleman a second chance to make his case here in December.
So you want to make a motion to postpone until?
I move that we postpone action on the operator's license for Xavier Bowie until the December 15th public safety meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Jay, I heard first. All in favor of postponing, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay? All right, that is postponed. And then mayor's report. The only thing I have is you all got the email. You may even saw the article from Michael Johnson with his request on renaming City Hall. Randy is unavailable this week. I want to touch base with him, but Michael has, asked to be able to present to council. I wanted to see what's on the January committee of the whole. It sounds like we have RCC for sure. I'm not sure what else, but hoping that that might be an option. I know that I was talking with Misty a little bit on also in January committee of the whole, possibly talking about the ARPA funding and the TID closure funding and kind of process along with that as well. So there's a number of things that we might want to talk about in January, but I don't know what else Randy had planned. So after this week, I'll be able to touch base with him and get back to you on that. That's really all that I have, though, at this point in time. And let's see, I believe that it would be starting with District 2 this month. Julia.
No, I don't have too much. Is we continue the conversation with learning more about Flora and Lane, the issues about the stormwater, and then trying to. I don't know if we are going to have a meeting with the neighbor before the year ends, but because it was promised to them to have some resolution by November or December, so maybe we should have a meeting with them or maybe in January, but we need to give them an update. My other update was that I mentioned in parks was the inclusive playground. The earthwork is done, and then we continue fundraising funds. So you want to do for Christmas, you don't know where to donate. You can go to the Madison Community Foundation and look for the fund, Fitchburg Fund, and you can donate to the playground.
All right, Gabriel.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think most of us were there, but the Fish Hatchery Road reopening was last week, and it was a lot of fun, and I am so delighted for that construction to be over, as I'm sure all of us are. So I just, congrats to all the people that were involved. It was a big project, and it's really lovely how it turned out. So, and I guess one more thing, the effort to keep leaf-free streets is still going on. When leaves stay in the curb and gutter area, as the water runs over it during a rainstorm, it leaches out some, different sort of materials that when they end up in the watershed, they can create algal blooms and create some issues for the lakes and the wetlands. So if you're able to keep your leaves out of the streets, that's really good for the environment. Just something to keep in mind when you're working on it. And also knowing that those brush collection dates that the city has, we all pay for brush collection as part of our the recycling and refuse fees. So definitely take advantage of that. And I do believe there's bags available in City Hall for collecting brush, isn't there? Yeah. You can get a free bag to help with that collection at City Hall at the front desk. That's all. Thanks.
Julie, do you have something else to add?
Continue because I have received a lot of comments on my district. The brush collection for Pelletieri is delayed. So I know I sent an email to Chad, and if you can mention what is the update.
Yes, the brush collection by Pelletieri has been delayed. They are continuing to work with their drivers and their staff to continue to make the rounds, and they hope to get all of the brush that's been set out prior to snow flying. So it may be a little bit longer of a delay than what is typically there.
All right. Jay.
Fish Hatchery Road is open. Sain Road is open. Did I mention that Fish Hatchery Road is open?
You don't say.
Buildings continue to get built, and things continue to progress, so all is well.
Excellent. Shannon, anything for you?
Nope, everything's all good.
All right. Jim?
Nothing to report.
All right. Joe?
Got a few. So had another episode of D1 All-Stars today, so it should be out by the end of this week. I interviewed Ryan and Kirsten Hulsman. So we were at 9 episodes so far. So if you want to check them out, go to the Fact TV website. Verona Area School Board has a new member, a longstanding board president, Noah Roberts, who's a Fitchburg resident. I think he got a position in the Evers administration, so he had to step down. Joe Haynes is the person that's replacing him, and I plan on meeting with him tomorrow just to discuss Fitchburg. And also I am having regular meetings with the superintendent of the Verona School District, and he's expressed a really heightened interest in serving, Fitchburg students, as much as possible. So I'm looking to see what his plans are moving forward, but I'm optimistic about that. And then the last thing, which I'm really, really, really excited about, is the as you all know, it passed in the board, but the city has hired EQT by Design to lead the engagement study for the teen center. One exciting part of that is that they're actually going to hire 8 high school and middle school students, most of whom are from Fitchburg, to serve as interns for the project. So they'll actually be paid to help lead the project, interview, survey their peers, and we will be introducing them at an open house, which is going to be on December 14th at 7 p.m. And it'll be virtual. Obviously that conflicts with the council meeting, so I won't be able to be there. But they're checking with Fact TV to see if they'll be able to at least cover it. It'll be on Facebook Live, and hopefully it'll also be on Fact TV if we're able to get it. But that's where we'll be introducing the interns. I'm really excited. I got to interview all of them, and they're all have a lot of different skill sets and experiences to be able to bring to the table. So this is, I just want to put a note on that and a pin on it, because it's a very important to include youth voice in the decisions that we make, because the decisions that we make impact them. And I think it's going to be a really exciting project moving forward. So that's all I've got.
All right.
I encourage folks to be able to attend in the public if they can, and I'll coordinate with our city staff to make sure that it's advertised via our different channels.
All right, Dave.
I'll just piggybacking on Gabriella said, I wanted to thank our residents in District 1. They've done a pretty good job of keeping the leaves out of the gutters. For a while it was getting a little out of hand, but it looks like last week there was a concerted effort, and like I say, I want to recognize them for making that good effort. There is a lot of phosphorus that comes out of those leaves and goes into the watershed. That's all I had.
All right, no unfinished business. A couple of direct referrals. Someone on finance want to do the first one for us?
I can do the first one.
All right.
I move resolution R-21821 authorizing the plan administrator staff contact for the city's 457 deferred compensation plan.
Second.
Sent by Jay, and do you want to speak to this?
Yeah. So this is basically the company that we use for the 457 deferred compensation plan requires us to identify administrators. In the past, we've identified individual people that by name. Neither of those people that are identified are with the city anymore, so we have to update that. They request the update to be a resolution to go through council, so that's why it's coming to us. But for the future, it was written so that it's identifying the city administrator and the HR manager as the contact, so it isn't by name. So it'll be in perpetuity. It'll work in that way unless we wanted to change the positions. So it's kind of more of a housekeeping item.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that one's approved. And then for this next one, I'm not sure.
I can kick it off if you want.
Do you want, what we should do? Do you want us to do a resolution first, or
Sure.
do you want to speak to it before we do the resolution, because that might impact what we do?
Yeah.
Why don't you speak to it before we do a resolution then?
Yeah, just as an update to this particular item, we've been working with Dane County Emergency Management on the annex update for the Dane County Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan. That's a county-wide plan that's updated approximately every 3 to 5 years. And ultimately, in some further conversation with Dane County Emergency Management, they support additional opportunities for public input in regards to the current draft annex that's been put into the packet. So I think it would be appropriate for the council to consider postponing action on this resolution until the January 11th meeting, and then also referring it out to Public Safety and the Resource Conservation Committee.
Anything you want to add, Chief Paul Veronker?
I think the important thing to note is the public input and making sure that we have the ability to bring this information to the committees that have already been listed. The other thing is to take a look at those natural disasters that have already impacted us. Two stand out, that being flooding and tornadoes, and that's pretty much the focus at this point, but it would be interesting to see if anybody else has any additional input of disasters that have happened in the city in the course of our lifetime. So any input can be directed to me through the fire department, and we'll make sure that it's added to the report.
Yeah, you can ask a question.
So thank you, Chief, because when I read this, I have plenty of questions. What I was surprised is on page 7 of the package, when the name of it's the table where you have the hazard attribute and impact, and there are different hazard attributes, and one of the things is flood, and you can rank from 1 to 5. And I was surprised to see that, we talk about flooding is a big issue here, and it's ranked like 2 or 3, or 1, you know what I mean? So I don't know, how do you come up with this?
There's no rubric for it, so a lot of it is based on the amount of the city that's affected, along with the number of times that we see those floods occur.
Okay.
So there really is no magic number. There are certain areas of the city that may be more affected, but this doesn't break it down into specific neighborhood or area. So there are areas that have flooding in them on a more regular basis, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the entirety of the city. So there's no doubt that those numbers need to be considered in certain areas of the city, especially as we look at the floodplain and how it's impacted structures there.
Can I follow? So you're looking at historical information. Okay, so my question is, can you incorporate some, according to prediction, of how can you modify this number, or you need to look for what are the historical information and that's it?
That's why I placed the maps inside of the document. Typically, the maps wouldn't be there. Okay. This is not a Fitchburg document. It is a Dane County document, and we're just providing numbers. Okay. What I'm able to do with the maps is to provide some background, and by listing the number of times those areas have flooded, we can identify the impact. Okay. But like I said, it's difficult for me to make changes to a document that really isn't ours, other than providing that information.
No, there are more people, so I can wait.
Jim, go ahead.
Joe, who's going to be looking at the at-risk populations and providing information? Does Dane County have all that, or someone in Fitchburg providing that?
A little bit of both. So our at-risk populations, there's a number of different definitions, and there's a number of different population sets that are represented by our at-risk population. Seniors, those without transportation, things like that just sort of come to mind. And through Dane County and through public health and through the senior center, those numbers reflect the information that we receive from them. So it's once again, it's based on historical impact, things that have affected us in the past, and how we see that trending in the future.
Julie, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. Okay. So my other question is on page 4. There is a timetable. So the timetable said that in August it was establish a local planning team, and I would like to know who is that team. And then there is another bullet point that says they participate in additional meeting via Zoom. And then this is for the August meeting, and they say understanding and applying lesson on climate change, seeing diversity and assessing equity in our community, and guidance for completing the attached worksheet. So do you have any, do you have a meeting first? If you have a meeting, what are the, what are the discussion? What we cannot see, what are the lesson about climate change, or when assessing equity in our community, what do you discuss?
Sure. So two-part question.
Okay.
The first part had to do with the local planning team.
Yeah.
A lot of that was working with department heads, those that could provide local information based on the impact within their departments. The second part of that question had to do with the meetings. Those meetings were conducted via Zoom. A lot of it was presentation-based, and I do have the recordings if you would like to see them. But that was identified as an attendance requirement for those that were leading the projects, so I sat through those presentations.
Yeah, keep going.
Another question is, and also for November 2021, there is engage with citizens to solicit input on local objectives. So are you planning to do that with citizen or residents?
So that's part of bringing it to the council,
Okay.
public safety, and the RCC. The RCC was an afterthought on my part, not intentional, just not something that I was thinking about front of mind, which is why we're bringing it to them in January. So the idea was to make sure that it was posted. Everybody knew that we were working on this. As far as the detail, they would have to reach out to understand that detail a little bit more if they were interested.
I have another question.
Yep. Go on.
And do you think that this framework can be part of the sustainability plan that we are planning to do?
I think this framework can involve a number of different departments based on the amount of information that's required.
Okay.
And with sustainability, we've actually already identified the sustainability position that was discussed with the council and the budget. So I've already actually made reference to that position in there, that it's the city's intent to address sustainability.
That's it. Thank you.
No problem.
Jay, go ahead.
So with all that, so I'm going to make a motion in a minute here, but I also intend to refer this to transportation and transit, because identification of evacuation routes is probably going to be helpful. And I'd also like to add public works, because, lack of a tornado or a major lightning strike, I think our biggest risk for a natural disaster in Fitchburg is flooding. And so I'd like to have an examination of that, try to maybe identify what areas that would be. So with that, I will move to refer this. By the way, I was going to just, since it was a direct referral on the agenda, I was going to ask why this was a direct referral, because it seems to me like this needs a lot of committee input.
And that's why I'm here.
So having said that, I'm going to move to refer this to Resource Conservation Commission, Public Safety and Human Services, Transportation and Transit, and the Board of Public Works.
Because they also mentioned about heat and trees. So do you think that we should send it to the tree committee too? I don't know.
Hold on. First, I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Gabriella. Okay, now it's open for further discussion.
Okay,
Right,
sorry.
Gabriella.
I'm not sure the tree advisory committee is meeting in January. We'd only have 4 meetings a year, so. And also transportation and transit, I know that the plan was to push this to the first meeting in January. We typically meet the Thursday after the first meeting in January. So I don't know if Andrew can arrange to have that meeting slightly earlier so we can discuss it. Just wanted to point it out, because I know I accidentally referred something that didn't have a meeting once and it was complicated, so I just want to avoid that.
I guess it would be, Joe, is that all right if this comes back to the council at the end of January instead of the beginning of January? I don't know what the timeline is.
Let's go ahead and do that. I think I'd rather have it go through all the committees that it's requested to go through versus trying to bring it back to the council. The important part is that we are meeting at least twice before it's required by Dane County and with their FEMA guidelines. As far as the resolution, we can follow up with the resolution and the ultimate draft of our mitigation plan at the end of January. That should be fine.
Okay.
I am continuously keeping in contact with Dane County. Like I said, this is their document, and we are working with them in order to provide as much information as possible, but the idea is to be as transparent as possible as well.
All right. Anything else? Then all in favor of referring it out to all those various committees and coming back at the end of January, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, so we're gonna also now update the council on the Town Hall of Madison, and someone needs to read the motion to go into closed session for me.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 1985 1E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting of other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And this will be about the Town of Madison Town Hall property.
Is there a second? Seconded by Julia. All in favor of going into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right. We are kicking Scott out right now. Jay, would you like to move?
I will move that we reconvene in open session.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Seconded by Dave. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. All right, we're back in open session. There's no action to take on our discussion. Thank you for the update, staff. Next meeting is in 3 weeks, actually, on December 14th. And committee of the whole is at the end of January. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Jay, seconded by Gabriella. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.